Okay, the hour being at hand, we will call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One quick announcement, due to some scheduling issues, the meeting of the Board of Elections is going to have to be postponed. You may have on your agenda, the first page was for that. We're going to have to reschedule that another time we can get all the members there. So we'll start with our commissioner meeting. And while it is not on the agenda prior to us getting into the regular business of the meeting, I know we have someone who was here to give a presentation. Originally, they were thinking they'd do that under new business. A lot of times when we have presentations, we do that early in the meeting, just so if folks need to be other places after this, they can feel free to leave. At this time, I think, Bob Garrett, you wanted to talk a little bit about a community college initiative.
One for each of the commissioners, Kim. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Bob Garrett, the President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here today to bring our camp center, County Community College. You have read in the media that there's Luzerne already exists, established, and very well. One of you inside of the packet are, but the first one I wanted to just letting you know that the yesterday will be an open house. But there'll be a ribbon August 24th. Very specific question about learn exactly how to operate, traveling in Shamokin. Probably I can certainly the college will be operating. However, on that you can look at 10 offered. You might have wondered if Luzerne last spring they did a survey of rising 11th and 12th graders in all of the local school districts, 13 different school districts, as well as a survey of local businesses. They used the chamber, both the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber and list, surveyed those folks. They came up with those sources, basically people say so those are all connected. By the way, that survey had 296 high school juniors and seniors and 168 local business. Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce has had its area, and I think for more than a decade to bring that community to this area. Out of that effort, we now have the Luzerne County Community College. There continues to be an effort until the Independence Valley College is a other, I think you know, operating other end of the county. Also puts us at the crossroads highways at Watsontown, at those cross highways. Why are we, as a chamber, of issues, but the most important, a affordable option to families and to an industry. Average student typical college you got the wrong picture. Another reason we need to provide more affordable options. And if you there are in the very far northwest, up out of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg area, all of the stuff that part of that is Pennsylvania is crushing college debt. The average Pennsylvania that goes 36,000. You have much more than that. The other thing, directions from schools, okay, as well as the college. I can tell you several programs in 2012 and more having already completed classes school. Level related. I want to call success in bachelor's degree. Survey that we did, and I'll wrap up with these. Survey that we did. Early college is basically while you're in high school, where the established very northern Northumberland area. And beyond, you off the interstate back and the other is that you can see the last thing on that academic majors that will be offered, and they're wide ranging, every arts and science. Right. Partnering with they they're already here. As a fairly the dollars and cents at the bottom, and I'll read it just in case. For a student that's attending Luzerne as part of high school, the high school would be charged $64 a credit. For the in-county tuition, this is per credit, is $130, which is exactly the same rate that they'll be charging at the Shamokin Center. This operated run is very similar to how you're operating the County there is slightly different about the fee charging. Folks to see asking the county if you would be willing. I'll stop. I'll just recognize Dave Hartman is here. Dave and I serve as well as Rick.
You don't get what I was going to
This way to
express to tell you
understanding what we did, what
years ago they because outside or they are not born here. If not born here, I like this country better than anybody else, and I care for this town.
Yeah. So to answer your question, the analysis, because lack of
Why they not trying to help? The reason why you don't call me up.
Far enough apart.
Was, I think, part of the consideration even back when SVC, the Susquehanna Valley Community Education Project was looking at it as part, it was part of the debate. There was a debate within the organization. Everybody was very well-meaning in terms of what they wanted, but there was a divide as to what people felt was best. And I know that it was one of the concerns that it might cannibalize that and also potentially, be a draw off of Lackawanna. And, I think there was again, a group within there that recognized that it was a good thing to have, Lackawanna here in Sunbury to handle Sunbury and be viable to have Luzerne's Shamokin campus be viable and to have another campus that would be up in the northern end.
Doesn't affect.
We have, no. And that was the, I think the thought is you have, that's going to service that area, and that services not only Northumberland County, but I would imagine there are students there from Schuylkill County and some of the neighboring counties there. If this one is up far enough, as Bob mentioned, there's 6 counties involved, the upper end of Northumberland. They found that there weren't really that many people who went out to the Shamokin, if any, once you got past Sunbury. Even in Northumberland County, people just didn't want to, they didn't want to drive that far, and it wasn't on a major direct route. I'm sorry.
I said, or they couldn't drive.
That's true. Yeah.
On foot.
Yeah. So, Roger. And again, as you know, there's 2 schools of thought on that, and ultimately, I think on this one, Luzerne also weighed in on what they thought would be the most successful, because it's the center, and it does, when this is put in, I know there was concern as well, even back as part of the original Susquehanna Valley Community Education Project, that if we brought in someone who was going to have a branch, that there would be the ability, if finances allowed at some point in the future, that they could spin off and it would be viewed as sort of an incubator for a later standalone college. And I think that that's still there and available if that time came.
With Luzerne, excuse me, the money's leaving.
Okay, the business.
This time, citizens' input for agenda items only. He has his hand up. Sir.
Sweet, yes, please.
Yes. Yes. We listen to the community. So, care about the flag, and she don't care about the kids die with needles in the heads, and the people commit suicide here, and she empires for the flag and I put incorrect. I don't have no other ways to make my voice listen. If you see here, even in the newspaper, the reporter Francis making the picture of the flag incorrect, no so 2020 correctly. He turned the flag against the President Trump. Look like say Trump, no more, go home. So no say 2020. in here, that's the newspaper. And I'm going to ask Mr. Commissioner Best how we meet the first time in the brownstone building that you said in the newspaper. You remember?
I don't know what you mean.
You don't
I don't know
remember?
what you're asking me.
Before your election, you remember how we meet in the
Sir-
brownstone building over there?
Sir, you came to a meeting about a month ago and asked all these same questions, and I
No,
answered all of them.
This time, I have to say how we meeting in here and how trick you making to me. You said you put the Megan back to call me. Hey, I got a lady working for the board of education and care about the community college to bring in the Sunbury. And you coming with your husband on April 21 to 15 and ask my wife to put the signs for your election. And I don't want to embarrass my wife. You ask me and I say yes. And after, you wait for the board of education. Don't be hypocrite. You don't care about the kids that die for the Thompson, but you care for the humiliation of the flag. I don't burn the flag. I'm put a little bit incorrect to voice my opinion because nobody listened to me for 10 years now, 11 years.
Sir, as you heard today from all the other people speak before you, it was the intention of I was not on the Board of Education. I was part of a community college effort, and it was the intention of many of those, the hope of many of those members on that board that I no longer am part of, to have that community college in downtown Sunbury. Not everyone gets what they want. People tried to bring it to Sunbury, downtown. I was not successful, and many other people above us decided that that's not where it was going to be located. That is not something within one person's control. You heard another gentleman speak here. He also wanted it there. Luzerne is a large educational facility that decided to put their university campus somewhere else. That is not, certainly not in the control of me or any one person that is on that board.
After you go on the beer and Wolf Architect and bring me beer for $4 million to fix the building, and give it ready for the board of education. If I spend $5 million to correct the building to make it, and nobody rented the building, you sent me through the Congress to hang me. That's right. That's the Megan Beck philosophy to make me to spend money to fix the building for $5 million to destroy me.
So you act as if the estimate that was got on your building was something personal between you and I. The Education Committee decided to get an estimate on what it would cost to facilitate rehab your building so it could consider leasing space or purchasing that building from you. That was a committee decision. And then a contractor went in and they gave an estimate. And yes, it was in the millions of dollars. That has nothing to do with me personally.
When they make in the meeting and the library over there, they tell me to make in hotels and things like that, building apartments for the community. And I say, no, I want to be community college because the Aegean Greeks say, you build one school, you close one jail. So, and the lady who was there, she said to me when she finished, I admire your passion, but I wish you good luck. She knows. She looked behind the walls and say, hey, you try to do something good, they don't let you to do it.
All I can tell you, sir, was just my great passion was to have it in downtown Sunbury.
You humiliate about the flag, but you don't humiliate about the kids that die with the nails in their hands.
And that's, I don't even know how you equate the two, that I don't care, that I don't know how, sir, I don't know how you can equate the fact that that shows disrespect to hang our flag that way, and that I don't care about drug use in our communities. The two don't even have anything to do with each other.
Nothing else to hear the voice. you do something peaceful to hear you boys, not taking machine gun and kill the people like they do every day in here. You live in a civilized nation, not in a terrorist nation. And who's responsible? The Mr. Trump is responsible? No, the politicians, because they put the poison on the Trump. Hey, we have a civil war in here. And when the civil war is finished, you remember what President Lincoln said? We are all Americans now. Started something better.
Okay. And I understand your frustration. So I do know that you mentioned back in April of 2015, I do know there must have been somewhere along the line there was a miscommunication. I can't speak to what was stated by Ms. Best or her husband to you when they were there. I do know I received, during the time that I was the president of the organization that you're referring to, a letter from your attorney who had the expectation that there was going to be a lease agreement between us, and I had to kind of explain to him that at that point I think there was $2,000 or something in the organization.
Community college over there together, everybody.
Yeah, I explained to him at the time that if someone made that representation, they did not have the authority to do that because as was stated, what was going on at that time was there were a number of properties that were being evaluated. I can't speak to what was stated to you by Ms. Best or her husband when they were there to visit you, but.
Something else. When they got the re-election for the mayor, what's the name? Elizabeth Kramer asked on the radio, what are you going to do? And the guy said, what are you going to do with the building over there on the 370 Market Street? And she said, well, when I pass by from over there, it smells like a sewage. So, but after that, I taken the mayor and the councilman, and I saw the basement, was no smell, was nothing, was clear. But they tried to throw the things in my face, you know.
Well, and that's not right, and that's not something that we can speak to here, though. That's another board and another individual, and certainly that's.
I pay the taxes every year, and I wait to fulfill my dream. But they trick me. I don't know. After my death, I'm going to do it, but I still have the spirit to be the community college. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motions need to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Commissioners' public meeting held on Tuesday, July 9, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuels payrolls as submitted by the Human Resource Office for payroll number 14 in the amount of $764,245.80 and payroll number 15 in the amount of $765,893.53.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuel bills as submitted by the county controller in the amount of $4,581,964.05 from July 6, 2019 to August 2, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Motion carries.
Announcements. A work session will be held on Tuesday, August 20, 2019, beginning at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. The next regular public meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019, at 1 p.m. in the Public Meeting Room at the Administration Center, 399 Stadium Drive, Sunbury. The Northumberland County Courthouse Administration Center and related county facilities will be closed on Monday, September 2nd, 2019, in observance of the Labor Day holiday. Correspondence, fiscal year 2019 211 report for Northeast Region and a fiscal year 2019 report for Northumberland County on behalf of Family Service Association Northeastern Pennsylvania and Northumberland County 911 combined report review summary for 2018 funding on behalf of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. A motion is needed for the Commissioners to sign the state tax equalization voucher for transfer of real estate tax for the month of June 2019 as submitted by the Assessment Office.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to approve the employee status sheet list of new hires, individuals no longer employed, promotions, demotions, and transfers as items number 1 through 26.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to approve the following reports as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion carries.
Motions need to approve David J. Rumble to serve in the Northumberland County Airport Authority to fill the unexpired term of Jack Lakaitis ending December 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Motion carries.
Motions needed authorizing the following selection of projects for the Northumberland County entitlement portion of the federal fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program at the recommendation of the Planning Department in conjunction with the CEDACOG as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, Linda, did you want to say anything about it? or-
Just quickly, the Claremont
Anything further on the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion carries.
Motions need to authorize the selection of projects for the federal fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant money on behalf of the following municipalities as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to approve the radio change order number 9, contract 00118351, dated June 26, 2013, with Motorola Solutions in the amount of $85,000 for delayed charges incurred through the period of time related to change order number 6, as submitted by 911 Coordinator Russ Fellman.
So moved.
Second? I'll make the second. On the question? Okay, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Motion carries.
Motion need to ratify a letter to the Treasurer and Controller dated July 11, 2019, to transfer $60,000 from the general fund to Northumberland County Area Agency on Aging and the transfer of $20,000 to BHIDS to cover accounts payable till funds are reimbursed from the state.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carries.
A motion need to ratify a letter to the Treasurer and Controller dated July 18, 2019, to transfer $90,000 from the general fund to Northumberland County Area Agency on Aging and the transfer of $120,000 from BHIDS to cover accounts payable until the funds are reimbursed from the state.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carries.
A motion need to ratify a letter to the Treasurer and Controller dated July 25, 2019, to transfer $120,000 from the general fund to Northumberland County Area Agency on Aging and the transfer of $170,000 to BHIDS to cover accounts payable till the funds are reimbursed from the state.
So moved.
Second?
Question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carries.
Motion need to ratify a letter to the Treasurer and Controller dated August 1, 2019, to transfer $70,000 from the general fund to Northumberland County Area Agency on Aging to cover accounts payable until funds are reimbursed from the state.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
No one opposed. Motion carries.
Motion need to authorize the amendment of Article 7 of the Articles of Incorporation of Northumberland County Authority, Pennsylvania, as proposed by the Board of the Authority by its Resolution R number 001-19 pursuant to 53 PA CSA 5605.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's made and seconded on the question. I believe we have Joe Klebon, who's the chairman of the county authority here. Joe, I didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about the reason for that amendment.
Yes.
And I'd just like to thank, Joe and the members of the authority. I know I had a conversation with them at one point about, what I felt it was important to make this change. I think what we've seen in the past is when there would be properties that are held by the authority, which would have originally been purchased with taxpayer monies and then moved over into the authority, and then there would be some sort of a lease arrangement between the two. All of that is perfectly fine, and it's sort of something that's necessary because of how our funding often works with the state for our different departments. What would end up happening, though, is when there were properties that the county no longer had a use for, those properties would be sold by the authority as opposed to reverting back to the county, and those monies would go to projects maybe in specific areas. In my own opinion, what would happen oftentimes is it would go to pet projects of people who were, members of the authority or who represented, or, there were certain communities that were almost exclusively the ones represented on the authority. And I don't think that that's where, and our board, and the members we've put on in this administration did not feel that that's an appropriate use for that money. What it ends up being is people, they put money towards certain pet projects in the hopes that there are other political aspirations, because many of them also hold other elected offices, that, that comes back to them in the way of support. It's not always the best use of the money. And in this way, by making this amendment, what it ensures is that when that occurs and we have a property that is no longer useful to the county, could be sold by the authority, those monies would basically be put back into things like the repair and upkeep of the other buildings held by the authority but utilized by the county. Even though money would be going out to some of those special projects in the past, we would then get a bill for a new roof on one of those buildings. Even though it was held by the authority, we're using it, we have to, pay for the new roof, and the lease agreements would require that. What this requires is that those monies be put back into those ongoing expenses, which should reduce what the ongoing expenses to the county and to our taxpayers ultimately are on an ongoing basis, because those monies will be going back into the buildings that the county is using to provide the services that it does. So, and I want to thank the Joe and your leadership on the authority with that and getting that done. I think that's something that's very important for this county, and it'll have a lasting effect in the future as well. Is there anything further on the question? Okay. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to ratify permission to advertise the bids for the MDJ office roofing located at 45 Locust Street, Milton, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, motion carries.
Motion need to reject all bids and re-advertise for the replacement of Northumberland County Bridge number 100 located on T-256 Duval Road over Moose Creek in Jackson Township, as requested by County Engineer Charles Hopta.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Do you want to speak to that, Frank? Yeah.
It wasn't, last time it was tabled, so it came back up at this meeting. Right, but it wasn't rejected at the last meeting. It was tabled at the last. It was tabled to get assertion that in the opinion of the expert, that the bid was too high. And now they've confirmed that the bid is too high, so we're rejecting. And we're going to.
If they don't get, if they get another bid.
You can choose to do it or not do
What do
it.
we hope to gain, you know? What do we hope
A lower price.
Okay, are we gonna, is the county gonna?
I think that is the intent, to try to drum up additional interest.
Too broad? I mean, I know
would be that's a Chuck Hopta question.
Does the county have to comply with the state regulations or the bridge?
Yes. And the specs are not drawn up by the county even, they're drawn up by engineers.
Anything further on the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motions need authorizing travel requests and attendance at the following workshops, seminars, as in accordance with the county's personnel manual travel reimbursement policy, as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to adopt Resolution R63-19, license agreement between the County of Northumberland and Moser Complex for Kevin Blazer to cut dead and fallen trees at the Moser Complex Field in Turbotville, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R64-19, professional services agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Planning Department and CEDACOG for services pertaining to the Community Development Block Grant CDBG for fiscal year 2018.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R65-19, resolution of the Northumberland County Commissioners for the approval of 2019-2020 funding in the amount of $7,215 for the Mount Carmel Borough Lower Anthracite Transportation System, LATS.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R66-19, professional services agreement between Northumberland County on behalf of the Human Resource Department and Paylocity Corporation for providing payroll services.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R67-19, resolution of the Northumberland County Commissioners urging the reauthorization of collection for fees, I think it should be of fees, to the Abandoned Mine Land Reclamation Fund.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R68-19, agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of District Justice Mike Deal and Robert Ryder for the purpose of cleaning the District Justice's office located in Milton, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution 69-19, data sharing agreement between the Northumberland County, the County of Northumberland and Pennsylvania State Geospatial Coordinating Board, GEO Board, for sharing geospatial data and GIS data with participating counties across the Commonwealth.
Moved.
Second.
The question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R70-19, Commissioners' Budget Amendment as listed.
So moved.
Second. On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
One abstention, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R71-19, Agreements, Amendments, Revisions, Grants, Leases, and Reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service providers as listed, numbers 1 through 23. The above agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports are not with the county employees, nor does their organizational contract list county employees as their principals in their corporation or on their board of directors.
Moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. Okay, is there any old business to come before the board? Yes? I think they're required to because by virtue of the fact that they're a nonprofit who serves those communities. We are not obligated to pay, we aren't paying anything on those bonds, nor are we a guarantor of them. They're required to go out and get basically the seal of approval of those communities that they're in, that they are in agreement with Geisinger getting that bond issuance or having a bond issuance. whoever their finance people are. I mean, those, I don't know who they work with specifically, who issues those bonds. They're Geisinger bonds.
Why are they going to all the counties, and all the counties have to approve it, or they can't? I'm trying to
Why would we approve it? Because we would want Geisinger to be able to issue bonds that they're responsible for paying so that they can fund their activities. I mean, because they are providing health services in our community, and
What about the other, what about, where else can these bonds go?
every community, every county where they have facilities, it's my understanding, goes through that process. None of the counties where they have their facilities is obligated to pay anything under the bonds. If Geisinger were to default, we are not a guarantor under the bonds. I think it's something that, by virtue of the fact that they are a nonprofit and a nonprofit hospital that serves those communities, they're required to go out and seek that consent in order to have the bonds be issued and have them be tax exempt, is my guess. So
I,
Why would a county just say, oh,
we aren't making the determination as to whether or not they're tax exempt. That determination is made by the IRS.
who's making the determination of, yes, we would say we give you this bond?
N-
That's what. They get one. It's the only. Some people seem like a lot.
I think that where you need to be making your argument would be to the federal government and the IRS, because they're the ones who make a determination as to whether or not those entities are tax exempt or not. We do not. We live in a world, and we deal with them in a world where they are tax exempt, but that's not our determination. Certainly, I think from the county standpoint or any other taxing entity, would they prefer to have the revenue, tax revenue that they would get in if those entities were not tax exempt? I'm sure we would, and oftentimes that's why there are entities that pay a pilot, what they call a payment in lieu of taxes, into communities. They do that to offset the fact that there is also a cost to having some of those entities in the community. For instance, Geisinger, where their headquarters is located, I mean, that's also a strain on the community's resources. They brings a lot more traffic in, the roads wear down more quickly, things like that. So they negotiate a pilot with some of those communities, and that could potentially be done in other communities that they're in. But the determination as to whether or not they're tax exempt is not something that we get to weigh in on. We just get to, we basically live in the world and deal with them in a world where they are considered tax exempt. Same with the AOA, that's not our determination. I guess the AOA is tax exempt as well, that's, and, yeah. As the authority, so. But there is, there are benefits to the community to having organizations like that in there. Part of the reason why the AOA was started was to be an economic driver for the community, to bring jobs, bring other, people coming in from the outside and tourism money into the community, and it's already started to do that. I think this idea of the, with a hotel is designed to capitalize on that even more. So, it's, but whether they're tax exempt or not is not something that we get to determine. So we try and make the best of whatever the relationship is with these entities, get the most for our communities and the most benefit for our communities in terms of the services they provide, maybe other things that they may donate to the community and so forth, because that's what we can get as a benefit. We cannot tax them, and that's not by our choice.
I would just like to also point out, the AOA is not building the hotel.
Well, no, but,
Right, I think there was
it's
the
a driver
impression,
behind.
right, there's a
bringing it
private
in,
person
and-
that's
yeah,
building the hotel.
Yeah.
I read the paper, I keep up on things.
I think that's probably better to be addressed tomorrow at the prison board meeting. Well, as far as
All
that,
three
no,
of us are on that
we're all on that
board.
board, so you know.
As well as others. Mr.
All
Grayson
three
is
are
as
on the
well.
board. Yes. In
Yeah,
fact,
when you
there's-
come to those meetings, you see all of us, you see Mr. Grayson, you see the judge. I think I may have missed one in the last 2 years, I don't know.
when you see good things, hope you notice me too when I'm there. But tomorrow we will have a better outlook on that as far as with the warden. As of right now, what I know, you want to know what I know? I think we're up to capacity as far as we were the last prison board meeting. I know there were some that have left, and there are some that we are hiring. And I know of a couple that have contacted me just in the last 2 weeks that are going to apply, so there are people applying for the positions. I want to note also that I was up Walmart 2 weeks ago and talked to them. They also have people who are leaving weekly and that they're hiring also. So I know you aren't, but I just want to let you know that in where we live, the turnover rate just doesn't happen at the prison.
I understand that, you can't keep referring back to.
It's a problem in the area up there. That's what I'm trying to say.
True, but another problem with it is the 1275 now.
I have requested, I requested a few weeks ago for the secretary up at the prison to do to get an analysis from the surrounding prisons as far as their salary and their insurance and their pension, and get that cost all together and compare it to what we have.
I know, but not all the prison employees take advantage of the insurance.
Well, you are. You're telling me the cost, their starting salary is,
Because the salary of 1275.
and I'm telling you, you got to look at the entire package. That's what I'm telling you. And when I get that information from our secretary, then we can sit down and talk about that.
Really nice answer to give to somebody who's concerned.
Well, it is. It's the right answer. It's the answer that says a package for your salary includes your benefits and your pension cost.
an overall compensation pay. And frankly, it's negotiated by the union that represents those employees. That's who we negotiate with to determine what those compensation packages are, and they're represented by them. And frankly, we can't be negotiating with other people or entities, including yourself, as to what those salaries are going to be, because they are represented with, by a union.
Say that if the salaries increase, you may have more people wanting to be there and stay there. County.
Maybe we can we can talk to
You
the
have two
union.
people in your family that do want to work there for that amount of money because they've come and they've stayed. I mean, I'm not sure what I.
Because you know what? That makes you look like a horrible person. Working in the county.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's just a fact. I'm stating a fact. They have decided that they would prefer to work there than move on somewhere else, so they would have moved on, would they not? It may not be the answer you want to hear, but it is an answer that is factual. That you say that your sons work at the prison.
So what? No big deal, right? It's no big deal.
I'm not saying it's no big deal. I'm saying that they apparently feel that they're being adequately compensated. They have stayed there. How long have they been employed there?
What they want to do is a career. They want criminal justice, and that's what they want to do as a career. So it's for you to just say,
And people who do that as a career often move from one place to the other. And frankly, a lot of, not just our county, but other counties around here, that is where a lot of times people who want to make a career of criminal justice start off at the county level, and then they often go on to the state or federal level. That's where they get their experience.
you guys want people to stay.
They are.
They're not. The turnover rate since that place.
Okay. I'm just observing facts, and I guess, it's not that we don't want to look at what the pay is, but as Commissioner Chickatano said, it's also, you look at the overall compensation rate. And and for some people, if you raised it, it wouldn't be enough because they would find something else that pays more, that they like more. Maybe they don't want to be in corrections, but there are a substantial number of people right now who feel that it is adequate compensation with that overall package at the salary it is and with the benefits they're getting. Your son's among them. I'm not sure. I'm just, okay. I deal in facts, and so I wouldn't,
$12.75 an hour. Ask anybody in this room to be a county.
We also have a defined pension plan, which a lot of places don't have anymore. And I will tell you, there are a lot of people who work at this county who could get a better salary rate somewhere else, but they would not get a defined benefit pension plan. And that's worth something to them, so they. Apparently, I'm sorry.
Compensation, the long-term compensation.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We don't match in our pension. Our pension is a defined benefit plan. We pay a voted on every year. At this point in time, we pay 5% interest on what that employee has in that plan for the year.
County does.
Percent goes towards the employee's account. Now, we also, as far as contributing on behalf of the county also contributes, this year it's $2 million to the plan. County contributes $2 million to the plan, plus we pay every employee who's enrolled in the plan 5% of what their balance is.
There is no matching. It's.
Start from day one?
Yes, sir.
Mhm. And you will not find that pretty much anywhere in private business anymore, and you're not even finding it that much in government public. It's.
Now,
Yeah.
now where municipalities or other government entities could have gotten in trouble in the past is by not making your annual contribution, that $2 million number. You know, the county, if the county wouldn't make that this year, no one's gonna feel the effects of that, okay? But sometime down the road, it's gonna catch up when, you know, employees sitting in here retire and all of a sudden, hey, there's not enough to cover our future liability, then sitting commissioners 10 years from now would have to say, hey, now we gotta make a contribution of $4 million a year.
That's similar to what's happening with the police force now.
I can't say that for sure. That's what's happening to the school districts.
Okay, is there anything from anyone else?
I just
Yes.
want to make a comment jumping back to the nonprofit. You know, in fact,
And I looked down to Frank at the time, and he reminded, yeah, it's structures and authority, so, yeah. Yeah. Anything further? Okay. Any new business?
I have some here, I want to talk. One for each. Now it is. Basically about property tax. Basically, attention. With the public of property properties up for who has purchased each private and all public
are changing amounts of tax property agreement anniversary date. Thousands of days and property. This evidence needs to blight properties for tax burden. Properties and higher taxpayers, including the elderly. For example, properties in posted parcel number Route 6 Husky Avenue, Maple Avenue, 2nd Street. Take me. Properties are available. People owning properties, taxes in arrears. Taxes are owed less next year. People own properties with taxes in the purchasing other property, county tax. For example, owner properties 18 owing approximately $37,000 on them. Purchased 11 properties over 11 properties with over $19,000 tax debt, which accumulates of that is fraudulent legal action. Passed. Claims the county laws and against the state laws. Actions for community. So the buck is ask you as the county council motion to have the North Carolina Claims Office post the address. Private official depositories starting with the ask you, county council, make a motion to have the North Carolina applied by the state laws only use payment of 20 of debt owed and the balance within 1 year of the anniversary date of the agreement. Ask you as tax bureau offices audited by taxpayers way of bypass.
What I think I,
They buy a property, what they should do is run a background on that person buying the property. If he owes taxes, no, because it's in the contract with every sale except the first one, the upset sale, that they are not allowed to buy. Owes taxes, I mean,
what I can assure you is, we'll talk to our internal people and talk to both the assessment and the collection office and find out whether or not, just to ensure that we are complying with all state regulations regarding those sales and how they're being advertised. That much I can commit to you.
right there.
Well, you're throwing some different facts out, which I don't know if they are regulations or
Why
not,
would
but.
they go into an agreement with a person that owes, let's say, $3,000 in back, pay $20 a month, a month, or that three. Payment plan would last 100 years.
Again, we'll take a look into what the agreements are that have been entered into, and we'll make sure we're complying with state law to the extent that we aren't, but I'm not saying we aren't. I think that, we need to take a look.
But I'm not mentioning, or I did not mention any names, but this,
I can understand you not wanting to give that name publicly. However, if you, maybe, Brenda, if you'd want to talk to Brenda in our assessment department, maybe we can get that information so we can look at that specific case. But I think it is wise not to be mentioning that here.
I mean to get all of them checked.
Yeah, well, no, and we'll make sure we're complying. Obviously, we want to be complying with state regulations with respect to these sales all the time. You've raised one in particular, and so it would also behoove us to look into that one in particular to make sure that there wasn't something else at play, or to make sure that the information that you've gotten is accurate, because we need to take a look at that and see.
It's in the paper as far as that person went home. In the upset sale, that person owes 37.
Oh, Brenda, one of...
It was in the
yeah.
paper, but I would say again, all the more reason why I should check it to make sure it's accurate.
Let's
$1.
let's have Brenda oversees tax claims and assessment. Brenda, would you get this gentleman's name and address and phone number, and let us look into it with our solicitor, and then once we have some answers, we can call you and they can meet with you and explain it?
Yes, I'm going to request a copy of the letter as well.
I asked the city about this, and they referred me to you. Go ahead and refer me, because somebody's got to take responsibility.
Yeah, everything I witnessed, they
Parcel number What's that? Accurate.
Okay. Well, and again,
Mailing address, their physical. For a post. Property or physical.
if you can get the information to Brenda, we'll look into it. If you can get the information you have to Brenda, we will look into it and make sure that we're complying with everything, and she'll look at that specific instance as well.
Like I said, 19 upset sales coming out this week. It's gonna be in the paper. I don't know if they'll have it on the internet or not. In laboratory. City tax. You don't get the taxes go. Senior citizens are likely lose their home. They can't pay. Why don't they have this special tax for senior citizens? Well, they can, not doing any, ever, baggage, chips, and people do it their property.
Yes,
Do any- And when they go to the sale, other one. It's gotta be done.
Thank
I
you.
can't do it. I talked to the city, they said, well, the county does. Get them the money. Forward to the Sunbury office, they money. Change. People are.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else have any comments from the public?
And you're still gonna do that assessment, right? That assessment mentioned earlier?
Assessment.
Yeah, about checking into the different properties and
We're gonna take a look at the department and make sure that we're doing everything the way that we are required to do by state law, and make sure that we're, yeah. Okay. No further public comment. I'll call the meeting adjourned.